Yo, is this thing on? Hello. As you can read from the title, I am getting over a cold, so please excuse me. Here's a disclaimer. Excuse me for any coughing, sneezing, coughing up that you might hear. This is not DSMR for a person with a cold. This is just me with a fucking cold. So, what is up, everyone? Happy Saturday. Gonna get down on some BF6. You know how we do. No more crew. Sorry, we beefing. You know, people change. Can't change people. People change themselves. So it is what it is. Whoa, there it is again. So whenever it's so weird. If I blow into the mic with my nose, it pans right. And it's bugging this shit out of me. And so I'm going to need to close up the threshold on the mic a little bit here. I'm at the top of my chest. That, I don't know what's going on with that. That's some whole weird mumbo jumbo. I've tried. See, there it keeps going. Like, for instance, my signal chain going in, there should be no panning. You know, like this is a mono signal. And so I feel like whatever's happening is happening post my chain. I hope, at least. I mean, this is gonna get loud. Hey. I don't know what's going on. We're just gonna roll with it. If it bugs me enough, maybe I'll stop to fix it. But at the moment, I don't feel like doing that shit. And I'm sure none of y'all feel like watching me troubleshoot my own shit anyways. So, oh, let's see what we got here. Oh, I don't have a lobby. Doing Domination and some King of the Hill. Later on here, I will post to the socials to let people know that I'm on, I'm live. We are on and live, if you know what I mean. So I could reduce the ratio, or we can even try the expansion too. So this is the expansion. Might be a little nicer to, and a little gentler to just use this expansion than the normal gate. I like using the expansion on voices so that it's not completely cutting everything off when I'm still talking, you know? So I got this Super 9000 here. I'm gonna go ahead and send a picture to my Mac here, and I'll display it. Send a couple here. I know people will say, ew, Mac. I love my Mac. I won't game on it, of course. All right, let me flip over here and show you. So this is the Super 9000. This is the channel strip that I just got, that I've got my mic going through. Basically, it's got so much in it, so like I couldn't pass this up. For $2,000, you get so much packed into just a 1U unit. You know, you got the preamp, you got the preamp drive here, with second order and third order harmonics. Excuse me. The trim is also amazing. So as you can see here, I'm pushing up the mic preamp to get a little more out of the drive, and just trimming it down here so that we're not clipping, of course, on the front end. You get a onboard compressor, part of the SSL Duality series compressors there. I'm not currently using it because I've got other compressors going on here, which I'll get to. Right here is the gate and expansion adjustment that I was just making. Then we move on to our filters, and then we have a full 4-band EQ here. So we've got low shelf, which can also be changed into a bell curve. We've got two parametric bell curves here. I believe you can tighten up the bell curve too to make it a more precise adjustment. And then you have a high shelf or a high bell curve, should you want that. And that's where it leads us over here to our output section here, where we have our insert, and I have it in because I have two different compressors going into the insert, send, and return. And so basically, this button here would move the insert right before this output. So it'd go through all the processing, hit the insert, and then go out. I currently have it unselected, and so basically we're going preamp into my insert into the rest of the processing of the Super 9000. And then we have the output there. So basically a little bit of what's going on right now with my signal chain. I've got the 1073 still that I was using prior to this attached. What is going on here? Oh, I didn't hit start. I was like, why is it taking so long to find a game? I talked about all that nerdy stuff and haven't found a game yet. So yeah, a little bit of what's going on. I had added New Gear Day. I didn't get back on because I had to do something. But yeah. Alright, so it's going to be a warm-up match. Let me get my chat up. I don't know if anybody's chatting yet. Chatting away. I'm trying to share my YouTube. A lot more people I'm finding have access to YouTube, so I think YouTube would be an easier fit for everyone to watch and view my streams. Whoa. Huh, a little bit of electrical noise too going through there with the light, the rack light. That's kind of odd. I do need to figure out the power situation too. I've got so much plugged into this this rack-mounted power conditioner that I don't even have space for this preamp. I'm like, that's kind of an issue. I don't know if I have my speakers plugged in here or what's going on, but I'll figure that out whenever I have time. I got this new close quarters assault rifle that I'm gonna be trying out once I'm not getting blasted by a shotgun in the face. Oh, someone's sniping.
Enemy forces have the upper hand. Let's regroup.
Very careful, this is where a shotgun guy was. Oh, Blueberry's doing work. Excuse me. There you go. Homie, homie. What, is someone spawning here? See, I don't know, man. I got off yesterday because the last game I was in, dude, the spawn points were just atrocious for King of the Hill. I actually need to take this out of rotation because they need to fix the spawns, man. They're really, really bad. A lot of them make no sense. No rhyme or reason. I think I was saying, though, that one of my homies is going to be getting on here soon. Unfortunately, with the job market and the way it is right now, he hasn't been able to find a good... What's up, Alexa? How long am I streaming? A couple months. I maybe say maybe four months now. I've been on and off.
The enemy's still winning the fight. Hit back and take control.
About to knife somebody. I had a lot of resources to get things going, so I said, why not? I feel like my... Yeah, they're spawning over here is what's going on. Alexa Warner. You remind me of a friend of mine. His name was Cole Warner. Which is funny. I recently looked him up on Facebook because I was like, I wonder what he's up to lately. Not shit. So, it is what it is. There we go. I need these DMR kills too. Trying to get some unlocks with it. This other team stacked or what's going on? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of hundos. But you got some hundos too on our team. I still look like a noob. I haven't been able to get on very often. But hey, I got a promotion yesterday. Job promotion. So things are going good in that front. Happy about that. Also means I'm gonna be a little busier. Got a little more responsibilities now, which is okay. Sometimes I feel like ooh, look at that. Sometimes I like to spice up life a little bit, you know? Things get boring. Make things a little more difficult on yourself. Excellent. Shit. Guarantee you they're coming around. There's one. Where'd that other guy go? They're already running up top. Freaking roaches, bro.
We have the objective.
Gotta pay back. Shit. Shit. Ugh. Motherfucker strafing on that keyboard, dude.
Hostile forces are still ahead in the fight. Let's regroup.
I do enjoy that the crossplay is not like super unbalanced. Whenever I look at the scoreboards, I don't see like just PC at the top, you know.
Objective's ready.
But I also tend to play domination when I'm playing by myself. Something that, you know, I could turn the tide by myself should I need to. I find Conquest just being a little rough whenever I need to win some matches.
All right, we're taking the objective.
Come on. I can get my aim up. It's so hard with the controller, man. I was so mad. So rather have a mouse and keyboard. Somebody clean those up, please. Shit. Ugh. There's too much going on. I do need some banners and stuff, and I know I keep saying that I need to get it done, but then I just don't. I've got a couple of animators already in line, so I appreciate it though. I know they're waiting for me to say what's up. Oof, through the window, you see that? Excuse me. I need to grab a water here soon. I feel a coughing coming up. Excuse me. Oh, come on. Oh, jeez. Got a coughing fit. I'll be right back. I need to get a water before this gets bad. My arm is cramping right now. Really bad.
All right, we've taken objective Charlie.
Oh.
Under our control.
Yeah, you can drop your Discord tag. I like building up my Discord community a little bit, because another area I haven't been on for very long is Discord. All the cool kids use Discord, right? Oh.
I knew you had my back.
I pulled out way too far. Oh, you gonna get revived? Yeah. I got the homies in this match. This is awesome.
Come on.
We need to take Bravo. I'm there with you, dude. Ah, shit. There we go.
This is our objective. Take it.
Come on. What do I got? Why do I have my DMR out? Ah. He got him too. Oh, man. That sucks. Ah, he revived. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the same thing. Whoa. No, no. No, you don't. Jeez, like I don't know how a submachine gun is doing that, you know, to an assault rifle at that range. It's just wild to me. The SMG shotgun, like the close quarters weapons that you would think wouldn't be doing this much distance are really fucking killing it. Come on, someone get me up out here. I don't want to. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And they're taking Charlie. Like, you guys need to play the objectives, man. This is getting ridiculous. We're gonna lose because of your lack of care on the objectives. Look at this. Ah, God, dude. This is one of those matches. I had a match where I hear him. Oh. I had a match where I was just standing in place at the end because I was just like, there's just no way. These people are like flanking our base and we're triple capped and nobody on my team is playing objectives whatsoever, dude. Get the fuck out of here. See, they're already coming around this side now, too. It's really obvious when nobody has played the story mode because they don't shoot the barrels. Nice. I just happened to shoot, too. Come on, come on. And a lot of people just standing in place, too. Teammate, come on. I have no ammo, bro. You don't have no ammo. I just realized that. I mean, our team is doing somewhat. Is doing something, but... Oh. Bro. Oh shit. Yeah, we're gonna lose this one, man. You guys, what the fuck you guys are doing, dude? But it's not winning, that's for sure. Yeah, plan is definitely not working. Give me that double. Come on, give me that double. What the fuck? Who's pulling out? Who's pulling out? Oh, fuck. Ah, fuck you, dude. No way. It's because I was weak. My tag is Truid Studio. All one word. Oops. Yo, bot tricks. Chat. There we go. Where's my stream runtime? Here we are. I feel like all my overlays got messed up. I don't know where my watch counters are or nothing. Well, that kind of sucks. Oh well.
Secure the objectives and maintain control.
And we just played this. I'll be muting my mic whenever that happens. I'm trying to get this out of my body, and that isn't the most appealing sound. Some people might get repulsed. I don't blame them. I'm not in healthcare because I can't deal with the majority of it either. Killed you. Alright, he wants to lay down with a fucking LMG. I see Blueberry looking for him too. Where'd he go?
Objective Bravo has now been secured.
You see him? Good. Oh, man, it happened so fast. Truid Studio. Truid Studio.
Be advised, enemy forces have secured an advantage. We now control Bravo.
Good job. Look at him hiding like a bush baby, bro. I was hoping Blueberry got some hits. I guess not. Time to chug water, man. I'm trying to get over this cold. I've seen a lot of red eye issues going on with my camera. I don't know what's up with that. I don't think I changed any settings besides the stabilizing, because you know I don't really need it when it's on a when it's fixed. Where are these dudes?
We have secured Bravo.
What the f?
The enemy have maintained control.
Who's throwing these stupid things, dude? I broke his cover. How many shots do these things take? Oh, fuck, dude. I've got no ammo now. All I have is this pesky DMR.
Our lead is secured. We are controlling the fight. Maintain our advantage.
Someone's mad. Yeah, look at them. They're all on the rooftops now, dude. Someone's big mad. Oh! Look how far, how far behind cover I was. Thought for sure I wasn't I wasn't within the line of sight. Ain't that some shit? Actually doing some work with the DMR, man. Really? Inside the dumpster is out of range now, apparently.
We now control Bravo.
Yeah.
Troops are close to securing the battle. Stop at nothing.
Yeah. That was a pretty good game. People always get mad at me whenever I'm pretty high up there. I was doing some shit with that DMR though. I was like, okay. I wonder if I have some double XP tokens to use. Oh my god, I just got the battle pass, yay. Do I have to unlock the one that's I can't even earn? Do I really have to unlock that? That's gonna be pretty pathetic. Let's go to our socials and tell everyone we're streaming. Come on, let's go. Someone said on Threads, making your political party your whole personality is weird to me. I totally agree with that. These people do not care about you. I repeat, they do not care about you. All right, this ain't working. I have to refresh. So don't destroy friendships, family members, relationships over politics. Like, that's like one of the most trivial things, in my opinion, that you could break off a good relationship and friendship over is fucking politics. These people do not care about you. And you just ended a lifelong friendship, relationship, family member over someone who doesn't even care that happened to you. It's not worth it. Politics have become way too people have been way too engulfed by politics. It was never like this. It should never be like this. That's what happens when politics become pop culture. Let me go to my custom search. I'm going to take off King of the Hill for now. All right, Alexa, I'll check you out. I appreciate it. Hope you find some work. I know how it is being freelance. Close out some of these windows. I don't need all these windows open.
All units capture the objectives and defend your position.
Secure the objective.
Good shit.
We have secured Bravo.
They're up top. Need someone watching my back. Man. Oh, and they're taking it now. Look at them. Look at all these roaches. All these roaches. Whoa. Yeah, I wanted a piece of that.
Objective Alpha is under
So I was hoping to get my tires. I bought some tires and I was hoping to get them changed today. And that just was not gonna happen because they had no openings. But so next Saturday I'll be getting it done. Somebody just saved my ass. I don't like being here. I need some new tires badly. It's funny, after I get these new tires, I'm probably gonna sell the car. Get myself something much more reliable.
We have experienced an early setback. Refocus and strike back.
Well, there he is.
All right, we have captured Alpha.
He's still here, dude. I gotta get a revive. I gotta get a revive. I gotta get a revive. Come on, there's so many of you. There's so many of you, dude.
Medic! I knew you had my back.
Objective Bravo has been secured.
Where's he coming from? I hear that. I got no other way. Dude, I got no fucking... Shit. No ammo on my primary. Ugh. It's hard using a fucking scope weapon around here. Yep, there we go. Turn the page. Oh,
Be advised, the enemy has maintained their advantage. Gain control.
is that an enemy? I'm so fucking confused, dude. There's so much shit going on. Oh, come on, bro. Thought we was moving in, y'all. Thought we was moving in. Why is it just me? Ugh. No good, no good.
Our troops have secured Alpha.
Ah, shit. Ugh. This ain't easy. This ain't easy. 6 and 4. Man, I'm at the bottom too. I feel like I can't even move in some of these instances, you know? Like, if I run to go cap a flag, like... Like, there you go. I did it. And they're already moving on. There you go. I need to get out of that dead last position, dude. Who was that? I see you. I saw you. I hear you. We got friendlies up there, so there's no way. Oh. Yeah, they're holding it down over here, dude. Ugh. Even with the points I got, man, still dead last. Son of a... Ah, yeah, that's us. That's it. Let's see what's on YouTube here. Let's try to see MKBHD gas up. Gas up the OnePlus phone.
All right, I'm not gonna bury the lead. This phone is so good. There's a new chip and then a bunch of extra stuff on top. There's a new design and a bunch more extra stuff with that.
That was pretty loud.
A new display with a bunch of extra stuff and new silicon, extra battery. There's just so much extra stuff.
Take control of the objectives and hold ground.
This is OnePlus 15. So I already really liked the OnePlus 13 earlier this year. Made a whole video about it, enjoyed it. They of course did skip 14 because 4 is super unlucky. So now here comes the OnePlus 15. And all I really expected from it is just a little spec bump refresh. That would have been normal. OnePlus has done it before. Back when they did the T version of phones, they'd basically refresh your phone 6 months later and, you know, just be the first ones to ship with a new chip for those sweet bragging rights. And honestly, that would have been pretty solid. The new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, as you've probably seen, is really good. It's 20 to 40% faster than the 8 Elite, record-setting multi-core performance, 4.6 gigahertz clock speeds. It's already goated. I could have just packed that up in the same phone and just said, all right, ready to go. But instead, they just decided to sprinkle in a whole bunch of extra overkill. A bunch of little tiny stuff that, honestly, even the most insane enthusiasts would barely even notice or care about. Type of stuff that, like, people who watch an MKBHD video of a new phone are not even gonna buy.
I knew you had my back.
Might have. So, on top of this new chip and the huge vapor chamber, they also dropped in super fast UFS 4.1 storage, and the base version of this phone has 12 gigs of LPDDR5X Ultra RAM, which is really fast. but it might not even be enough for you. So the upgraded version has 16 gigs.
Might not be enough for you.
DDR5X Ultra Plus RAM.
Like, how much is
That's
enough?
as fast as it gets. This is not normal. They also, of course, updated the design of this phone, so it's simpler, cleaner, more squared off. I like it. The sides of the phone and the camera
looks like,
bump, and basically
Google
everything is
Pixel
flattened
now.
and more squared off now. I kind of like how the cameras right in the middle are perfectly aligned with the center of the phone through the logo. It's clean, and it's also all matte all the way around. So the back
Shouldn't have
and
gone up
sides,
against that.
no gloss needed. And there's 3 colors: matte black, matte sand, and matte violet, which is pretty unique. Okay, so even if they
I feel like
did
phones are just
that,
starting to look the
new
same.
chip and this new design, that would have already been about what I expect from a spec bump refresh a couple months later. But this is not that. This is the OnePlus 15 we're talking about, so bring on the overkill. So all of the colors of this phone have this newly developed super tough finish from a process called micro arc oxidation. Essentially, it creates a ceramic coating on the metal. And normally I wouldn't notice.
We need
stuff
some,
like that too specifically,
drop
but
tests.
This matte black phone has turned out to be one of the most impressive matte blacks I've ever seen on a phone. Not only is this nice micro texture kind of soft to the touch, but also matte blacks are actually
he's in
typically
love.
pretty fingerprint.
Marquez is in love.
Clean, I admit, but somehow this one does not fingerprint at all. And then normally when I pull something matte black out of my bag and it has scratches on it, that hurts a little bit inside. And that happened with this one, and I pulled it out and it has scratches, and that was devastating. And then I realized these scratches wiped off every single time, because it turns out those scratches are actually just the material from the other things in my bag scratching off onto the ceramic. Since ceramics are like an 8 or 9 on the Mohs scale, anything that's not literally diamond is going to be softer than it. This phone isn't taking the damage.
Where is he?
It's doing the damage. That's not normal. Fallen ambulance, but not for me. Now I don't know.
Where's the
exactly
man?
how
Jerry
big
rig
this
everything.
coating is, or exactly
Mr.
how
Zach.
well it'll hold up to a jerry rig everything
Yep,
knife
there-
event, or even a big drop.
Yeah.
But I do feel pretty good about normal wear and tear here. And on top of all of that, they've also certified it for IP66, IP68, IP69, and now IP69K dust and water resistance. So not only can it be dunked in water for minutes at a time, but it can also be blasted from close range with high pressure, high temperature water jets up to 80 degrees Celsius. Pretty sure it can literally survive a laundry cycle and be fine. That is also not normal, and it's also hilarious because of OnePlus's history of not wanting to pay for official IP certification for years to save a few bucks. Now they're just doing all the things. Oh, and by the way, it does all this while being slightly thinner than the OnePlus 13, and while getting a massive battery upgrade to a 7,300 milliamp hour silicon carbon battery. So the OnePlus 13 this year already set the tone with an
Bro, what
awesome
the fuck
6,000
happened?
milliamp hour
Get
silicon
out of here.
carbon battery with high performance.
Gotta hit on him.
The S25 Ultra and the other flagship phones, but now it's just getting ridiculous.
Excuse me.
It's literally twice as much battery as some other phones were just a few years ago.
Ow.
Thanks to
My arm is
more
cramping
silicon
hard.
content in the anode and higher energy density than ever before.
Get the fuck outta
This
here.
thing just lasts forever. Now, I recently talked on the Waveform podcast about why I don't do battery benchmarks, because so few of them actually represent real-world usage. You can optimize for different things. But just know that not only is there no way a phone with 1,700 milliamp hours doesn't do well on benchmarks, but also OnePlus is one of those companies that notoriously aggressively kills background tasks and manages standby time really well. So the fact that I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of screen on time easily on one charge and can basically never kill it in a day is no surprise. Sometimes I end the day with like 50%, go to sleep, wake up, and it would have 49% ready for a whole nother day. Also, the fast charging brick comes in the box, which
Now's
is
the time.
sadly also not normal.
No!
But it also fast charge to the tune
Bro,
of
where's our
80
team?
watts here in the US, but it'll do 100 watts in other countries with more powerful outlets. And there's 50-watt wireless charging as a cherry on top. It's still SuperBook, so it's still USB-A on the brick, but I don't mind this because it comes with the cable anyway. You can also turn on battery management features, limit your charge capacity. There's bypass charging. Actually, this phone's battery is so big that you could turn on charge limits to 85% every time, which you don't need to, by the way. But if you just wanted to guarantee the long-term battery health of the phone and limit it to 85% charge, it would still have more battery than the Galaxy S25. Now, one of the biggest stories in smartphones and computers over the past couple of years has been custom silicon. And this phone also does that. So I mentioned already it has a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, but what I didn't mention is there's also 2 other custom chips on this phone that help OnePlus continue to chase that fast and smooth dream. There's a new Wi-Fi chip and a new touch response. The Wi-Fi chip, you
Bro,
can
this
think
is
of
like
as their
how
equivalent to
crazy.
Apple's new C1 and C1S
That white looks
modems
really
in the
good,
iPhones.
actually.
Instead of
I like the
using
white better than the
Qualcomm
black.
modem, they've developed their own, calling it G2, and I don't know much about it other than the fact that it occasionally pulls higher speeds than other devices on the same network, sometimes. But then the touch response chip is even more impressive, actually, because they're pairing it with this new display, which can refresh now up to 165 hertz. But
I wonder how much damage is assist is kill now.
165 hertz sometimes. It's funny, when you go to display settings, under refresh rate, you can turn it up to high, which says up to 165 hertz. But when you flip through and actually use the phone, you can see it's mostly going between 1 hertz and 120 hertz. It's 120 when scrolling, 120 when in apps, 120 when multitasking. So when is it 165 hertz? Well, it's just for gaming. So if you open a supported game like Call of Duty or Clash of Clans or Real Racing 3, there's a list of them, that is when it kicks up to 165 hertz. So the list of supported games is pretty short right now, but in these specific games, it basically pins the frame rate at 165 and keeps it there. So for the specific mobile gamer whose eye is so well tuned that they can see the difference between
Mobile
120
gamer.
and 165 and actually care about that in the game of their choice, well then, this phone is clearly for you. I'm more the
You
type
got
of person
PC
that's just
Master
happy to
Race.
have a higher refresh rate and high resolution on at the
Consoles.
same time because so many phones make you pick one or the other. And
Mobile
the
gamer.
dedicated touch response chip
Can't even see 'em.
enables a ridiculous 3200 hertz touch sample rate. For reference, most normal flagships are typically 1440
Diablo
hertz
Immortal
to
just
about
made it that way.
400 hertz. So that is also clearly not normal. But there are some downsides to this phone though, and that brings me to one of them. So I mean, there's a couple small ones and then one really big one. The display is technically a higher refresh rate sometimes and a little bit brighter sometimes, but it's also a slightly lower resolution than before. Because see, OnePlus 13 was 1440p and OnePlus 15 is 1272 across. You probably won't notice, they're both very sharp, but hey, there's been lots of little overkill stuff in other parts of the phone that you won't notice either, so I had to mention that. And OnePlus also continues to abandon the alert slider, which I personally loved, but they are replacing it with just this one customizable button. Most people end up being fine with this. I know there's a lot of vocal people like me that miss the thing, but you
I got
can
mine on the
customize it
flash.
to make it a long press silent switch. But I just really like being able
Flashlight.
to know the state without turning on the screen or taking it out of my pocket. But of course, people will map this to other things that they find useful, so that's fine, I guess. The haptic motor also got a downgrade from the 13 on paper, but I can confirm that you absolutely will not notice that. It's still really good haptics in the OnePlus 15. But the really big one is the cameras. And
Forgot I was
feel
gonna
like
throw
this has been-
Conquest in the
this has been
mix.
a
I'll do
story
that
of
next.
OnePlus phones for forever now. Every time they have a great phone with great specs, great performance, and they always botch the cameras. And with this one, it's not like just the phone is really great, it's just not the best cameras. No, this is actually a pretty substantial downgrade. Like the sensors are smaller, the apertures are smaller, and the photos and videos are just worse and disappointing across the board. So it's a triple 50 megapixel camera system back here, which sounds promising, but this primary sensor has been a surprisingly weak performer. This is actually the same one that's in the $400 Honor 200. It kinda acts
Ooh.
like it. There's more noise than you'd want to see in some medium
That's
lighting
not-
shots where other flagships do just fine. There's also a decent 3.5x telephoto zoom and a 116-degree
This is
ultra
why I can't go with
edges. They get the job
everything
done.
looks good on
In
paper.
general, I found colors pretty dull and just too much noise and not enough detail in most shots from any of these cameras. And you've probably also noticed there's no Hasselblad logo on the back of this phone anymore. And it kind of looks like they're done with that camera partnership. The orange shutter button
Yeah,
is
because it
gone.
sucked.
X-Pan mode is gone. They
They went
call their phone
downhill
mode
after
master
that.
mode, though, and they still
The
use this
Hasselblad
incredibly
tuning was
loud
just
leaf shutter
garbage.
sound.
It looks so
I guess they're
dull.
not totally done wiping out any trace of it. But yeah, in a world where they have done so much and even done overkill with the performance and the usability of this phone, once again, on a OnePlus phone, the cameras are an area where you'll have to be okay with being disappointed. Again,
I
so
just
look,
can't. I can't
really
do it.
enjoy using this OnePlus phone.
I
For
can't
the
have
same
a
reasons
shoddy
I enjoy
camera.
Using a lot of previous OnePlus phones. They make these things so fast and smooth. So even as their software has changed and Oxygen OS has kind of devolved into a Color OS clone, which is also kind of an iOS clone, at least it stayed buttery and packed with features, and there's still plenty of customization to set it up the way I want. You can choose to use any of the AI features, or not, like always. I didn't. You can also choose to adjust some of the default behaviors, or not, like always.
What the
I did. It's just a really confidence-inspiring phone. No matter how hard you push the phone, no matter how much you try to get it to do crazy stuff, it always loads things ridiculously fast and lasts all day. So that's great. But yeah, it's not normal. This phone is so not normal. And I appreciate that so much for all the little performance stuff, but they do now have a longer way to go to get me the daily.
Marquez got some old, like, bloom going
Thankfully,
on.
it is very competitively priced. So this phone is $899 US or $999
for 128 gig.
Sweet 16 gigs of LP DDR5X Ultra Plus RAM. But yeah, can you guys make like an ultra version with a really nice camera, please? That'd be nice.
Luminex, huh?
Okay, thanks.
That'd be cool.
Peace.
Poke your head
Why
out.
Denmark is suddenly declaring war on immigration.
This is Denmark, a country of just over 6
No shit,
million
yeah.
people. For
Finally
decades,
got
it's been
exposed.
famous for being one of the happiest places on earth.
Yeah, wow.
Offers healthcare, rehabilitation, society.
This is the reason, by the way, you can't accept a bunch of immigrants, is because the people are going to come in there and they're not going to have these values. They're going to change everything, and they're going to be a drain on all the systems. Systems like this work only work in extremely high trust societies that are generally homogenous.
But recently, something changed. In 2021, Denmark's prime minister stood in front of Parliament and said something that shocked the world. We can't promise zero asylum seekers, but we can set that vision and do what we can to implement it.
Sorry, brother. I was gonna run out there and die.
Not stricter limits.
Yes.
Zero.
Absolutely zero.
Asylum seekers. Period. And she meant it. Denmark passed a law to ship asylum seekers to Rwanda.
Well, what are you going to do with them? We're going to send them to Africa. There you go. I love it.
Under 6,000 kilometers away, so they'd never even set foot on Danish soil. They started seizing jewelry and cash from refugees at the border. They're demolishing entire neighborhoods to break up immigrant communities. And forcing 1-year-old children in immigrant areas to attend mandatory daycare for
All I have is my
25 hours a
DMR.
week to learn Danish values.
I'm gonna respawn, y'all.
Right. And even that, I mean, if they're not going to have, if they don't want their kid to learn Danish values, then why not just deport them? Why not just get rid of them?
Whoa,
why
my
are you having immigrants coming into
reticle
your
went
country
way high when I walked on that
actively want
mound.
to be leeches on your system and hate your country? What kind of a fucking value?
Pause asthma on. Sometimes I don't like watching certain topics.
Take it!
Damn. Yeah, I saw him. Oh, fuck. Go upstairs. Holy shit.
Be advised, hostile forces are still ahead in the fight. Let's regroup.
We just triple capped him? Oh shit. Makes me wonder where they're... Yeah, they're still at Charlie. Oh, Brandon texted me. Huh. Thank you for the cover.
Right, we've got the lead.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'll just make sure they don't take fucking... How the hell did you die?
And the fight is ours. Let's get it done.
I'm gonna mute myself for a second. Oh, sorry. Had to, a little bit of a cough attack there. Coughed so hard that I got a headache. Oh, God. Man, I am just in bad shape. Right, I was gonna add Conquest into the mix now. Oh, damn. Man murdered possessed girlfriend with chainsaw? Bro, who is this? Jesse Weber? Well,
31-year-old Paxton Wallace was found brutally killed in her own home, and police say, of all people, by her longtime boyfriend who reportedly called 911 himself, claiming he did it because she was possessed. But this suspect reportedly has a criminal past that raises
look at this dude.
red flags, and her family now believes that Paxton may have been trying to leave this relationship. We are going to break down the details.
Like, how does a girl like him, how a girl like her get with a guy like him? You know, like
from every angle. Welcome to Sidebar.
and then these women get stuck. You know, they get stuck with a psycho.
Real quick, let me say this. Do you know why we can cover an important story like this? It's because of the support that
Why,
we get from
Jesse?
millions
Why,
of
Jesse?
I'm talking about America's largest personal injury
fast
law
forward
firm. I'm
this.
talking about a firm of 100,000 clients. In fact, in the past few months alone, a client
YouTube added the jump ahead button.
This case that is unfolding at a funeral is one of those tragedies that stops you cold. 31-year-old Paxton Wallace was found brutally killed in her own home, allegedly at the hands of the man that she had been with for years. Somebody that her family had welcomed into holidays, someone that they seemingly trusted. According to police, her boyfriend, 47-year-old Jeffrey Real, called 911 before dawn, claiming not only that he killed Paxton, but that he did it because she was, quote, possessed. And at the center of it all is the most haunting question that this case raises, one that goes far beyond the word possessed.
His damn
What
picture,
was
too.
really happening behind closed doors in the months, maybe even the years leading up to that night. So here's the case. Paxton Wallace was living in Phoenix. According to her family, she was this warm, steady presence in their lives, somebody who loved her faith, loved her two dogs, always made time for Sunday breakfast with the people that she was close to. But she had been in a long-term relationship with a man named Jeffrey Real, someone her family says that they genuinely thought that they knew. According to statements that they made to
Kinda
Izzy's
weird.
family, they'd spend holidays with him, they opened their home to him, they had all of this time, these memories with this guy.
Damn.
And while there were things in his past that certainly raised questions later, and we're going to get into that part separately, because there's a lot there, the family says nothing had ever screamed danger to them. Not in a way that would make someone believe something like this could ever happen. From the outside, nothing leading up to Paxton's death publicly signaled what was about to come. But looking back, the family now says there are elements of this relationship that maybe deserve a closer look, and we're going to unpack what those moments are. But then you go to the morning of November 7th, it's a Friday, and everything shatters, everything changes. According to a release from the Phoenix Police Department, at around 3:40 a.m., police claim they get a call from Jeffrey Real himself. He reportedly tells the dispatcher that he has killed Paxton and then adds a claim that sends this entire case into this unsettling, almost unreal direction. He allegedly said he did it because she was, quote, possessed. So when officers arrive at the house, they walk into the scene that is chaotic and horrific. According to the court records that were received by AZ family, Jeffrey Real is still there.
Put myself out there to revive them, and then they both
inside the
reset.
home. Police find
So
Paxton
frustrating.
dead. And this is the part that is especially unsettling, is how severe her injuries were. So severe that she's unrecognizable. That's based on the reports. There is a chainsaw in the kitchen.
Oh,
and
God.
this chainsaw was reportedly covered in blood, hair, and biological matter.
Ugh.
So this guy, Real, was detained. He was taken to a hospital first. He was later booked into jail. He was charged with first-degree murder. He's being held on a $1 million bond. And we'll talk about his criminal case. Innocent until proven guilty, absolutely. What is the evidence against him? We'll talk about it. But meanwhile, Paxton's family, from a human point of view, who had been preparing for Thanksgiving, which they say was Paxton's favorite holiday, they suddenly find themselves planning her funeral instead. All right, so before we go any deeper into this case, I wanted to bring in somebody who can actually walk us through what all of this means from a legal, from an investigative standpoint, because there's a lot to unpack here. I want to bring him back in, criminal defense attorney Eric Faddis. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time. Before we even get into this case specifically, can you explain how, someone who's been on both sides, right, the prosecution and defense, you tend to look at a case like this when you're first hearing it, because it's hard to separate it. There's the human aspect from it. There's the brutal nature of it. You have a defendant, yes, who's innocent until proven guilty, but, how do you first approach something like this?
Oh gosh, well, certainly some chilling allegations here in this case, Jesse. I mean, from a prosecutor's standpoint, one of the first points of contact is the victim's family. You're going to learn not only how this affected them, but possibly the history of this relationship. On the defense side, you kind of have to try
Thanks for that
objective legal
spawn
analysis. You have to explore
dice.
what avenues you might be able to pursue, notwithstanding the gruesome nature of the alleged facts.
And with your background in special victims and domestic violence cases, is this something, the allegations right now, is this something that stands out to you as an outlier, or have you seen, brutal crime scenes like this before? And again, we'll talk about what potential defenses could be.
Hostiles now hold more objectives.
Jesse, unfortunately, in my experience, it is common that domestic violence relationships, more so than almost any other relationship, has the potential for lethality. And sometimes it escalates into, a gruesome set of circumstances like we have here. It's really, unfortunately, a pattern that can sometimes repeat in communities, and it is not terribly well addressed by the legal system, and sort of has an upward trend recently, which is alarming.
And one of the aspects of this case that makes it particularly chilling is if the allegations are true and he did this, the family's shocked. There's this sense that we knew this guy for years. We had no idea that someone like this would be capable of it. Again, assuming that he did this, right? That is something I think I've seen in a lot of cases before, like whether it's a domestic violence case or a murder case or what have you, but domestic violence cases particularly, you have this idea where there's maybe an image that the public sees, that the family sees, that the friend sees, but you don't know what's going on behind closed doors or who somebody really is.
Oh, exactly. And that's why these things can be so shocking. They can be so shocking for the victims' families. You know, domestic violence, like you said, it's not something that often happens out in the open. It doesn't happen in front of a ton of witnesses, typically. It's often behind closed doors. It is a private hell that some of these survivors and unfortunately alleged victims have to experience sometimes for years without even their closest family or friends becoming aware of it. It's just a very private and sensitive matter, and people are sometimes disinclined to speak out about it as well.
Can I talk to you about this 911 phone call? Because it's strange on a number of levels, but to have a suspect allegedly confess over the phone in the middle of the night, right, in the early morning hours, is that common in homicide cases?
That one, at least in my experience, is not terribly common. You know, oftentimes the 911 call comes from the alleged victim, the person who is on the receiving end of an assault or threats or something worse. Yeah, you know, here, the alleged culprit where the perpetrator is expressing what he's doing and why he's doing it, I think is really illustrative. You know, it does rise to the level of alleged confession, certainly problematic for the defense.
Now, we have to talk about him allegedly saying that he did this because she was possessed. My first thought is, okay, we're talking about Arizona insanity defense, right? Where a person could be found guilty except insane if at the time of the criminal act that person had a mental disease or defect, that they didn't know the criminal act was wrong. So first, if it's a law school example, you say, oh my gosh, you know, they killed somebody thinking they're possessed, thinking, you know, they must not be in the right mind. But to call 911, that would signify to you, right? They knew what they did was against the law. They knew what they did was wrong. Or am I not thinking about it the right way? Or is a criminal defense attorney going to jump on this?
No, I hear you totally. I mean, that call kind of shows a consciousness of guilt. Why would you get police involved if you didn't do anything wrong, if you were kind of saving this person from demonic possession? The call to police indicates that he appraised the wrongfulness of the conduct, and then you look at these sort of multiple weapons that are found at the scene. There are other artifacts like a cross, and those things, the hammer, the chainsaw, all of these things together show that this, there was some thought put into this, there was some planning put into this, and that cuts against an argument that the defendant was not guilty by reason of insanity.
How do they test for that? How do they know? It's not right. It's not a criminal defendant at this point in time whether they're insane. It was at the moment. How do they know at the moment whether somebody was afflicted with some sort of mental disease or defect that they couldn't appreciate the wrongfulness of their actions? Is it a battle between different mental health experts? Is it trying to understand what officers observed at that moment? How long can that mental disease defect, that mental affliction, you know, be processed for? Again, what is the test?
Yeah, so typically how it works, Jesse, is the defense, if they're exploring that not guilty by reason of insanity defense, they will have a comprehensive mental health evaluation for their client with a professional who is trained in doing this type of analysis. The professional usually does an in-depth interview with the defendant.
I don't have my repair.
What happened that day? What happened in days and weeks leading up to this? They look at evidence at the scene. They try to determine if there is some disconnect between what the defendant is saying and what the objective reality is. On top of that, they have to find a mental disease or defect. It can't just be, I was having a bad day, or I had a kind of a panicky break or something like that. It's usually got to be more severe than that. And then the prosecution would get a chance to do an evaluation, the findings of which often differ from the defense's evaluation.
Were you surprised that he was immediately hit with the first-degree murder charge? I mean, from your background, what would be factors that would lead authorities, prosecutors, to immediately go forward with that charge? Because, I mean, I'm covering other cases where you don't see that immediately. It takes some time to figure out what had happened. First-degree murder, what does that tell you?
You know, one thing it tells me is the prosecution is taking this extraordinarily seriously, and that they think, even at this early stage, they have the ammunition to bring the most serious homicide charge there is, first-degree murder. One potential issue is that they're going to have to prove premeditation. They're going to have to prove that he did this after deliberation. And while there is some evidence of planning, I think defense might argue that, hey, this was like a psychotic break that happened in the spur of the moment for which there was no history leading up, as the family has said. And so proving the first-degree murder charge, premeditation and after deliberation, is going to be a hurdle.
I'd say, other than the brutal nature of this, one of the hardest parts of this story, one of the hardest pieces of this story to understand, to grasp, and something that only really emerged after Paxton's death, is again what her family now believes she may have been going through.
I don't know how a female like this gets mixed up with a dude like.
Immediate aftermath.
Like, I just want to keep calling him a Raoul. He looks like a Raoul. I don't know why. Come on. I got botched on that.
She was trying to get out. She was trying to reach out for help. There are shelters, there are places, but there's a wait list. There's a lot of it. It's a hope you get in. According to the New York Post, Alita said that Paxton, quote, was trying to get out of the relationship, but was concerned.
Yeah, I can see why. I don't know how she even got in.
Not letting the family know what was really going on. And they didn't really get too deep in specifics, but the way that they described it suggests that she may have been looking to get help quietly, maybe even cautiously, the way a lot of people in difficult relationships do. Eric, is that true? Is there difficulty for people to get the help that they need to get out of a potentially abusive relationship or dangerous relationship?
No, Jesse, I've seen it time and again, sadly, how difficult it can be for some of these folks to leave these abusive relationships. You know,
just like I was talking about, man, like, it depends on circumstances. Like, I get people tell you, just leave the relationship. But if you got into a relationship where you're, like, for instance, dependent on a person and they are basically your means of financial situation, or maybe you're just scared for your life, or, you know, super anxious about, you know, your life just going completely downhill once you go forward with this divorce, you know, it's just like, there are a lot of things that you have to sort of, manage prior to taking those steps, and some people just can never take it, and it ends up being the end of them, unfortunately. So
they fear their abuser and what could happen if they try to leave and aren't successful. In addition to that, often there's a cycle of domestic violence whereby the abuser perpetrates but then sues and controls.
What is going on? You hear that?
And then the cycle starts all over again. On top of that, sometimes they're economic.
I think something's going on with my streamer here. I might have to come on, guy. I'm gonna have to restart my streamer probably after this match, so yeah, get that motherfucker, dude. Behind us. Behind us. Oof. Oof. Oh, it's our chopper, alright. Who's shooting at us? You see him? Oh yeah, I see him up there. Okay. Alright. He's doing work. Can you not, Jimbo? Someone's mad. Where are they at? You got jokes in here? Is he just shooting at the building? Come on, dude. There he is. Alright. So he wasn't just aimlessly shooting at stuff. There's actually some issues. Some sound issues going on with this streamer right now. This is really fucking me up. Yeah, because our tank is just sitting here. Hey, we're definitely holding down Charlie, though. I can't wait for my homie to get on here and so we can start flying the chopper. I don't know if we should drive right up in their face, but alright. I guess that'll work, since this guy is just not doing nothing. It's all cool and all fun and games and stuff, but we need our people to be taking on these flags. Where you going, bro? This is not gonna be the end of us, really? Come on, dude. Oh my god, bro. You leave me out here. What do I have an air locking? Man. That's a sad end right there. I can't watch this, bro. It's just like so... It's so depressing. I want to watch. Let's watch some more videos on the Super 9000. I think I already watched that. Let's see what he's got to say.
SSL has been on a roll lately. From their control surfaces to the SSL 18 audio interface to their plugins to the Revival 4000 channel script, they've just had great stuff.
Right, the
coming
Revival
out one after
4002.
another. And the latest from them is super cool. It is the Super Analog channel script that was found in the original SSL SL9000J console. Now this channel strip offers some amazing features. It's so flexible, can do so much. It really is a do-it-all channel strip.
Right.
Let's take a closer look. The
That's why I got it.
SSL9000J was introduced in 1994.
Holy crap.
The SSL 1000 series. Now, the SSL 9000J had a different approach. It was intended to be completely transparent, have extremely wide bandwidth and extremely wide dynamic range. A couple ways to accomplish. First of all, there were no electrolytic capacitors in the audio path. It also had DC coupling, fully balanced mixed buses, short cable runs, or short signal path runs, I should say, inside the console. It used oxygen-free copper cabling, so there were a lot of things that went into making this a very transparent and very wide bandwidth flat response console. In fact, the theoretical bandwidth was something like 5 hertz to 500 kilohertz. In practice, when the 9000J came out, it was doing something like 10 hertz to 80 kilohertz or something like that. When the K came out in 2004, it did from 10 hertz up to 120 kilohertz, so extremely wide bandwidth. There also was an entirely new super analog preamp design that again was designed to be super clean, super transparent. The SSL-K console, again, that came out in 2004, was set up for a fully surround 5.1 mix bus, returns, and so on.
Oh my god,
the
dude.
automation has been greatly enhanced. So these consoles really took a big leap forward for SSL. So you had two choices of SSL at that point, basically. You could go back and get one of the older SSL 4000s. Those had more grit, more punch. People loved them for rock productions, for early hip-hop productions, and so on. They just sounded so great for that type of music.
That slap
came out with its more transparent, wider bandwidth, higher dynamic range, and the sound quality. That was great for pop, for more modern sounding things, modern hip-hop, those types of sounds.
SSL has been a staple in hip-hop.
Included a dual mode EQ that could go from E series to G series modes, and we'll look closer at that when we talk about the channel script.
I love that.
The dynamic section was also enhanced, both on the individual channels as well as on the master bus. There were around
E-series
190 of
fiend,
the SL9000J consoles sold, and about 55 of the XL9000K consoles sold. So not a ton of them were out there, but now you can have the sounds and the features of the channel strips from those consoles right here in the new Super 9000 channel strip from SSL. Moving across the front panel, there are a ton of features to explore here. We start with the input section here on my far left. This is actually a dual mic pre. We've got the SL9000 mode, which is going to be that transparent mic
dual mic pre.
And we also have the VHD mode.
VHD,
now this is the same preamp as is found in the Duality console. The Duality
harmonic
built on the 9000 series. And this preamp gives you variable harmonic drive. You can adjust it between second harmonic and third harmonic modes on this. We'll take a listen to that in just a second. We also have two input and cadence settings for the microphone preamp. 1.3K and 11K, and this can affect the sound of certain microphones when you connect them up. Of course, we have 48-volt phantom power, we have polarity invert, we have a pad, and so on. But let's listen to that preamp in action. We're currently using the SL9000, the very transparent mic preamp. Now, if we switch over to the VHD setting, by pressing this button, and now we see the meter up here illuminating. That tells us how hard we're driving that harmonic drive of the VHD style preamp. And we can adjust the sound of that by moving
his
the
voice
drive
got so
control.
much
That goes
more
from
clear.
Second harmonic, and rotate this direction. Comes back around over here to third harmonic, which is going to give us a little harder tonality out of it. And of course, this really depends on how hard you're driving the preamp as well. You can see the meter here across the top showing how hard we're hitting that VHD preamp. There are separate input connections on the back for microphone and for line level inputs. So you could leave your microphone connected to this and also have your DAW connected to this. And then you choose which one is feeding the channel strip using this switch or microphone. An interesting feature of the Super 9000 channel strip is the input flip switch, which is found here over in the master section. What this does is basically reverse those connections on the back so that the line level input feeds into the preamp, and that allows you to use the VHD coloration on your line level signals, say coming back from your DAW. Next up in the signal path, we have our dynamic section. Now, there are two parts to this. Of course, we have the quintessential noise gate expander that you'd find on the SSLs. That's over here in this part of the dynamic
I'm using
section.
the expansion now.
And over here we have the compressor section as well. Now, the compressor section can operate either in soft knee or in hard knee mode. You select that using the peak switch here.
Oh, okay.
You can also set up fast attack or slow attack.
Well, peak would be
We've got
soft
control
or
of the
hard knee.
threshold, ratio, as well as release time. For the classic gate expander section, of course, you can switch between gate and expansion. We also have a hold control. We've got our threshold control, and then we can also set this up for fast attack.
So the gate is the main reason why I had pulled the trigger on this one, because I cannot find a software gate that I like. There is not a software gate that reacts the way a hardware gate does, or a hardware expander does, to my liking. And so I don't know what disable mines means. And so, what the f... Hey, look at all of them. Look at all these fucking... Look at all these roaches, bro. And so I had to get the hardware expander because you could just hear it. It's just so... It's so much more natural than the software likes to do. It's just... you just can't... You can't beat it, in my opinion. And it's so super transparent. Like the software, they give you so many freaking like variables to use. Like to open and close it. It's like I don't need all that shit. Give me the basic range, release time, threshold. And I'm good with that, you know? And that's what these hardware expanders do, and they do it so well that I can't find myself liking the reaction of software expanders at all.
Following the dynamic section, we have the filter and EQ section of the channel strip. We have high and low filters, and we also have 4-band EQ, and the 2 mid-range bands are fully parametric. Interestingly, our high-pass filter has a steeper slope. It's 18 dB per octave, while the low-pass filter has a smoother or more gentle slope at 12 dB per octave. To increase versatility, you can also position those high and low-pass filters right at the input, or in fact, you can put them into the side chain of the dynamic section. As I mentioned, we have a 4-band EQ. The 2 mid-bands are fully parametric with gain, frequency, and bandwidth. And we can switch these between E and G modes or between pink and black modes.
I'm a sucker for the E mode, I'm sorry.
Consoles. When you're on E mode, you have variable Q. That means that the bandwidth actually changes as you boost and cut. When you're in black mode or G mode, the bandwidth stays the same, so it's a constant Q design. That means that it's a little bit more surgical, so even when you boost a lot, you're still getting a fairly narrow bandwidth out of that. The 2 mid-bands, the low mids and the high mids, also have switches that allow you to basically...
I like this guy because he really breaks it down to, you know, basically the science behind how all this hardware actually reacts, and he's actually very familiar with it too. So I like listening to what he says because it helps me learn too, you know. I will not sit here and say that I'm the arbiter of knowledge when it comes to audio and mixing. I'm not, you know, so.
Divide the frequencies or multiply the frequencies by 3. So this greatly expands the range of those 2 mid-frequency bands. You have your low band, your high band, and then those mids can either sit more in the mid-range or you can drop one down very low and one up higher to address specific regions if you need to. Following the EQ section, we come to the routing section of the channel strip.
He's using the Earthworks
the right
too.
side of the panel.
I've got the Earthworks
There are a couple of
ethos.
things you can do here that greatly increase the flexibility and the versatility of the Super 9000. First up, as I mentioned, there's input flip. So that sends our line input through the preamp. Going back to the EQ section, we can also choose to put the EQ into the sidechain signal path. And the dynamic section can be positioned either before the EQ or after the EQ using this switch. I mentioned the sidechain, which controls the operation of the dynamic section. There is an external sidechain input as well. You can address that by hitting this switch. And if you have 2 of the Super 9000 channel strips, you can link them together for stereo operation with this switch. Finally, we have our output section, and it has some additional features hiding there as well. On the back panel, we have 2 balanced jacks for a send and return insert loop. And we can also choose to either have that stay where it normally is in the signal path, which is right after the preamp, or by hitting this switch, we can put it right before the output section at the end of the signal path. This allows you to insert balanced external gear either at the beginning of the signal chain or at the end of the signal chain. And finally, we can select on the meter whether we're looking at input or whether we're looking at output. If you're looking for the biggest sound, the widest bandwidth, and the widest dynamic range from an SSL channel strip, the Super 9000.
Because I was wondering where the input meter was.
So versatile. That dynamic section with both compression and gating expansion.
I'd rather look at the input, honestly.
EQ and filter section, the ability to drop an insert point either at the beginning or end of the chain.
The insert point was another seller for me because I already have a chain of compressors, hardware compressors that I use for my vocal. And so, having the access to be able to use those was priority for me in order to fit it in.
that we have two completely different preamp voicings, you're going to find that the SSL Super 9000 channel strip delivers everything that you need to get great sounding recordings. For complete information on the Super 9000 channel strip or any of SSL's product,
give him a like. Dude's awesome. All right, let's see what Full Compass says.
Hey everybody, it's Nick Marzak with Full Compass. Like a few weeks back, maybe a month, 2 months, time as a flat circle. SSL released.
Let's jump ahead.
That one is gone too. Does it get a revival?
SSL? What is that? It's a super analog channel strip. It's a rack unit. It's
the Super 9000 Super Analog Channel Strip. This is a greatest hits of the legendary J-Series, K-Series, and Duality consoles on a rack unit channel strip with some super flourishes from other models. Switchable variable harmonic drive circuit with second and third order harmonics, modern and reactive dynamic section, switchable EQ between G-Series 292 pink knob or the 242 black knob EQ from the E-Series, routing customizability and sound customizability. This unit will give you that sweet, pristine super analog sound or some nice color when you add harmonic saturation. All customizable, all in your control. There's so much to get into. Let's go through it. This is full review.
Okay, I don't need all the fucking...
Fullcompass.com, go. Blue front plate on the face.
I'm not a fan of this. There's like fucking music and stuff playing. Oh, here we go. Let's see what the comparison.
Not have the fresh drops, even if they're ahead of schedule a little bit.
Okay.
None other than these are introductions.
Of course.
What's up?
Let's get to it.
Audio monster.
I'm this compressor.
He is a gear
and I like the
Stan boy.
Which are the CHEERIOZ. Love them to death. Yeah. But it slaps so hard.
Oh fuck.
That's crazy. I out of curiosity, I just wanna do a comparison here.
Oh yeah. Hey, I was hoping you would say that.
I'm gonna turn the game down for
I
a
know
sec.
he's a busy man, so I'm not here to impose. But I was.
I want to hear this comparison.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's zero it out.
So we passed all initial tests to warrant this interest for an AB. It's not a shootout. We don't promote violence. Just comparisons. It's all fun.
Yeah, a little phasey because of the camera. Hopefully we get a pure signal to listen to.
It's funny how different these views are. You know what I mean? At the top end, difference.
Yeah, there's way more snap on that guy.
Yeah.
What are we on right now? This is the 4K, yeah.
9K. They're so different, and not one is better. It's crazy.
Hey, you heard it here. Collect them all.
Oh yeah. Do you hear it? Like so much cleaner. The 9K, like pristine, snappy, modern.
Yeah.
And then you got.
Holy crap.
Super gritty.
That's a 4K?
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Or that's a 9K?
That's that, what we all know and love.
Yeah. And then you switch to.
We'll take it to 2002.
9K. This thing is so nasty when it slaps, but it's so much cleaner, even with the drive on. Do you hear it? There's a huge difference.
Did you mess around playing between?
Yeah, that's where I like.
And he's not even pushing the drive.
A lot dirtier, you know, still power, still got the grit, but
I almost like the
yeah, the 9K is they do not overlap. Let's put it this way.
They complement. They
yeah,
don't
they
compete.
absolutely do not overlap.
I almost like the 4K sound.
That's a
for drums, at least.
different world, like completely different world. And so every time there was a discussion, you know, you like the 4K better. I like Keith liked the 9K better. And I'm like, you know. but this, it's funny because you know your taste also change with experience, and I fucking like this thing very much. Yeah. And it's crazy because working on so many different genres, like I literally work on reggae today and fucking death metal tomorrow. That's a completely different, you know, because I usually SSL for me is drums.
Yeah.
You know, where I associate them to and I use them the most. And I would immediately know where to go. Right? Like, oh, this song is going to be 9K. Because it's so profoundly different. We have the comparison right here. Same snare, same channel, same everything. And similar settings. I wasn't trying to match it. I just
gravitated towards what...
Yeah, to what I like, right?
Went on instinct.
Yeah.
Do the experience, the technical know-how, is able to move on instinct.
And
this is the first outside of the in-house of the SSL realm. This is the first gentleman to do it.
Yeah,
it's only right.
Fucking shit, it's so great. And plus, you know, having different features, like this one's got the drive, this one's got the de-esser.
Right.
You know, so you got different features.
Right.
It's funny because I have two SSL EQ right there, extra.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
I had those. I love those.
Yep.
You know.
Brown knobs. I don't like those brown knobs though. Who's this right here?
Whilst the Revival 4000 combined features of the early SSL desks, Super 9000 focuses on the
That's
later
what I got,
era
the Super
of SSL
9000.
consoles. Very
That's what I'm
much
talking through right now.
inspired by the SL9000J and the super analog technology that console introduced. Super 9000 places all the features and routing options you would expect from an SSL channel strip into a single space rack unit. The dual mic amp can act either as a pristine 9K style microphone input or can be switched to engage variable harmonic drive for subtle saturation and color. 9K dynamics allow for that familiar snappy SSL comfort compression and precise
I'm not using any of the
gating and
onboard
expansion.
dynamics. I am using that expander though. Now let's listen to this.
High and low pass filters and a 4-band EQ make tonal shaping easy. The EQ is instantly switchable between the 292 pink EQ, somewhat infamously introduced on the SL4000G, and the 242 black EQ, an E-series classic, giving you two distinctly different sounding EQ circuits in a single channel strip.
Hey. Yeah.
Super 9K provides both a microphone input and a line input for ease of use when both recording or mixing. And when working with line level sources, the input path can be flipped and benefit from the VHD circuit.
Sorry about that. I'm getting this out of my system. I like how he's doing these examples of samples.
filters and EQ can all be reordered within
crazy.
the signal chain. Filters and EQ can be placed within the dynamic sidechain path, which can also be fed from an external signal. A movable insert point makes integrating additional hardware into the chain simple. And should you want to process stereo signals with Super 9K, a pair of units can be stereo linked for matched compression. Very nice. The solid-state logic Super 9000
Not who I expected to be talking like that.
Now. Consider purchasing from Make Noise Pro Audio, a UK retailer of both used and brand new audio equipment, and
how is this video so long?
Solid-state logic and many
wow,
other
he's going through the
brands.
history.
Of course, product links and more information will be below and in the comments.
Sure, this will be actually pretty nice to watch.
Link, which will give me a small commission if you purchase, say, a pair of Super 9000s through it. That'd be nice. But enough of that. I don't want to sound like too much of a YouTuber. I'll talk you through the channel strip in a bit more detail later, and we'll hear some demos. But first, and some of you may already know this, a few years ago, I actually began compiling the history of SSL into a 6-part video series called The History and Legacy of the SL4000 series. SSL's consoles changed so much about how music sounds and how it's made, and the impact of those consoles is still felt today. There are so many amazing stories, anecdotes, and technical details. The tale of SSL truly is fascinating. As the project evolved, it spiraled into a gigantic task, and one that was just a bit much for this one man to handle. So it's currently on ice. A huge thank you to everybody who helped contribute to the project.
Yeah, he got a lot of big names.
Amazing special guests who featured, all of the studios who contributed B-roll of their amazing consoles, some of which you'll see today, and to the studio staff and management at the iconic Metropolis Studios in London, who let me in to snoop around and shoot lots of footage of their collection of SSLs. Thank you to everyone. I will return to this incredible story someday. Hopefully I can give a little scratch to that itch though, as we take a look at a brief-ish, very curated, and hopefully non-spiraling out of control history of some of the products and stories that feed into the Super 9000. So, buckle in, because we're going back in time.
It's interesting that that's on ice, but he's going to be going through the Super 9000. Maybe it's not as in-depth. I don't know.
Colin Sanders founded Solid State Logic in 1969.
Why are these guys in our spawn, bro?
At the age of just 22, operating out of his parents' garage in the small village of Stonesfield in Oxfordshire. He initially began building switching systems for pipe organs. Also offering recording services, the garage became known as Acorn Studios and became a popular choice for folk and acoustic artists.
Acoustic artist, the cow. Cow's like, yeah, what's up? I'm in the studio. That cow needed an Instagram.
Being left unsatisfied by the technical performance and sound quality of the commercially available offerings at the time. This resulted in the Acorn console, which served the studio through the early 1970s. By 1976, Colin had an entirely new console design, now under the Solid State Logic name, the SL4000A.
Wow, made out of a barn.
The SL4000B launched in 1978, introducing several improvements and gaining a cult following amongst producers, engineers, and artists who were lucky enough to use one of the just 6 B-series consoles that found themselves around the world.
6.
It was the next year, 1979, when everything changed for Colin and SSL, with the launch of the SL4000E. The 4KE became an almost instant hit because of 3 main areas of innovation. Colin's obsession with technical performance meant pushing ever harder towards higher fidelity audio and signal integrity.
Probably drove himself insane trying to achieve it.
Transformers, VCAs, and other electrical components throughout the 4KE audio path and topology. Individual channel strips were feature loaded, as was the center section, and the entire console was tied together with comprehensive routing options and flexibility that had never been seen before.
Like these are people that are
the concept of mixing to become its own specialist process.
Signal flow and routing.
Production. Perhaps the most recognizable part of a 4000E channel strip is the colorful EQ section. 4KE began life with an evolved version of the 4-band parametric EQ found on the 4000B, tweaked and refined into what we now know as the O2 Brown circuit. Low, low-mid, high-mid, and high bands all featured plus-minus 15 dBs of gain and a wide range of sweepable and overlapping frequencies. Low and high bands could be switched between a shelf and a bell shape, and low mid and high mid bands had a fully variable Q shape. Alongside the EQ was a separate high and low pass filter section, which, as part of the O2 Brown design, was always engaged. So even at the minimum position, the signal was always being filtered, with a slope of 12 dB per octave. The EQ was an instant hit with studio engineers who found it to be a useful and versatile tool for shaping signals subtly.
So the filters never were truly off.
Tonal enhancer, or be driven deep for aggressive and gritty sounding sonic reshaping. But there were some who thought it wasn't aggressive enough. And in 1983, at the request of Sir George Martin, who was speccing a 4KE for his new Air Studios, SSL designed the 242 Black EQ. The 242 circuit increased the range of available gain to plus-minus 18 dB.
I love the Black series.
And tightened the slope of the high pass to a much steeper 18 dB per octave.
The filter might be the reason why, honestly.
Entirely bypassed when setting to the out position. 242 Black was a bolder sound than the O2 Brown EQ, giving tighter control of low end and a more focused sound
it just
across all bands.
always feels more punchier to me.
Headroom meant that engineers could push the gain harder without saturating quite as much. There's still a pleasing character to the EQ, but clarity was maintained, aligning perfectly with George Martin's vision of a new, polished, modern pop sound, and with Colin Sanders' never-ending pursuit of technical excellence. 242 Black became extremely popular, and for many, the definitive SSL EQ. Lastly, the inclusion of a computer integrated into the console naturally turned a lot of heads from both tech enthusiasts and skeptics.
What?
The 4000E computer system enabled control and synchronization of a tape machine directly from the console's center section, but also introduced engineers to the idea of recordable mix automation. The large faders on a 4000 series console are also known as the VCA faders. The fader itself isn't actually controlling the volume of a channel. It's delivering a control voltage to a VCA within the channel that dictates how much gain is applied to the signal. The 4000 series computer could record this control voltage as data stored on a floppy disk that could then be replayed and edited. Fader
Because typically with the bigger consoles, you would have a why does it sound like I'm like clipping right now? It's just so weird. There's something really weird going on. Hello, hello, hello. Is it the ML1? You hear that? It's like in my left channel, it's like clipping now. Something really weird is going on, dude. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I can't tell if it's... Sorry. Hey, hey. 1, 2. Is it my... Wonder if my Summit audio is going bad. No, I'm hearing it. Hearing that weird again. I'm gonna have to see what's going on with that.
All squads move out for attack. Take control of the objectives and hold ground.
It's like left channel related, so like I can't foresee it being the preamp, because the preamp is mono. There's a left channel of something that's like really fucked up. I'm like, hold up though, I'm kind of tearing it up. So I'm not gonna, oh no!
Became much easier and could be perfected in multiple passes by a single individual.
Yeah, and I can also hear it from
Recall was a truly revolutionary feature added to the 4000E computer shortly after launch that allowed engineers to take a digital snapshot of the position of all channel strip controls. The CRT screen built into the center section would display a pixel representation of the channel strip and the position of the saved controls. An assistant would then be able to go through and manually, but accurately, recall a mix, one control at a time. Amazingly, this all came at a time when the general public had very little experience and understanding of using a computer, and many in the music industry initially failed to see the potential, but Total Recall was indeed a game changer. Of course, there were lots of other factors at play, but those three areas of innovation—
this whole time I was listening to the API signal too.
And flexibility, and the console's computer system helped SSL to achieve worldwide success with the SL4000E. There's a lot that I've skipped over and left out of the early SSL story around the Acorn, 4K-A, B, and E consoles. Perhaps I can go into
there's a lot of custom fucking
video, but everything that I have mentioned is key to understanding the next few generations of consoles, which would more directly inspire the Super 9000 channel strip.
This sounds way different than what I was listening to. I don't know why the API sounds like that though. It's still doing it, I can hear it, but
desks had been sold worldwide, becoming a staple in recording studios and a must for mixing. The company had rapidly expanded in size to accommodate the increased demand, moving into new premises and employing more staff. Colin knew that to complete SSL's industry domination, they had to deliver a follow-up to the 4000E. But how do you deliver a perfect sequel? Much like a Hollywood franchise, you shouldn't reinvent the wheel. If the foundations were good, keep them, make them stronger, and build upon what worked, whilst introducing new improvements and just enough twists to re-engage people's interest. In 1987, Solid State Logic launched the SL4000G, a refined and more powerful evolution of the E-series that kept the same core architecture but tightened almost every aspect to provide an improved workflow and sound. Higher fidelity audio was again prioritized, with new VCAs and electrical components being used to lower distortion, crosstalk, and noise. The 4000E used Jensen transformers in the mic path, which could be removed upon request when speccing a console. On the 4000G, it was the other way around. The console was transformerless by default, again in that pursuit of perfect clean audio, with the option to install them during the console's build. Incremental revisions to parts of the 4000 series circuits had been made over the years, particularly with the dynamics section, which by the time of the 4K was now able to provide much tighter and more controlled compression. Routing options were also improved for even greater flexibility in processing signals. Naturally, the computer system also saw a huge upgrade with a faster processor and increased memory capacity, and improvements to the
Mini
software
floppy.
and total recall meant that G-Series session data and automation became faster to both store and load. Was
Weird, it's like whenever I talk, it's like
and a more powerful graphical interface showed
the left
things
channel's
in
just like
new,
disappearing, bro.
ultra-realistic detail that only the 80s could. The software would only keep improving too, with SSL issuing regular updates, including the much anticipated launch of Automation in 1991, which was also a hardware upgrade, moving away from the VCA.
Yeah, like the left channel's just like gone, dude.
Of true motorized faders. Whilst most of the 4000G was a natural and linear improvement over its predecessors, there was one aspect of the console that was a little bit of a wild card. The infamous 292 pink EQ, an entirely new SSL channel equalizer design.
Something's
that was
wrong here.
sonically worlds apart from the beloved 242 Black. Why would SSL take such a big gamble, entirely changing an integral part of the console's processing? The 4000E was so popular that the success of the G-Series was almost guaranteed. But there was one potential threat that stood looming in solid-state logic's path: the return of Rupert Neve. Rupert sold Neve Electronics in 1973 and left the company in 1975, signing a decade-long non-compete agreement. In 1985, Rupert returned from exile and immediately launched Focusrite, wowing the industry with an intriguing preamp and equalizer designed in partnership with SSL's previous collaborator, Sir George Martin. Bit awkward. The ISA 110 was well received and beloved by engineers. It had a classic Neve tone, but with a modern, airy sound. Perhaps Rupert himself had been inspired by the last 10 years of SSL's offerings. Of course, Colin and SSL had great respect for Rupert, but from a business point of view, they saw him as both a threat and an opportunity. If Rupert's new design was being so well received, surely it
Still
would
getting
be
some
a matter of time before he launched a new console and began competing for SSL market share. But on the flip side, if the Focusrite EQ is popular, perhaps SSL could learn something for their next design. The decision was made to design a new EQ circuit for the SL4000G, inspired by the Focusrite ISA design, and of course the result was the 292 pink EQ. 292 is a 4-band EQ. Low and high bands are fixed shelves with a smooth overshoot, a cut or a bump being placed before the selected frequency for the high band and after it for the low band, dependent on if you're increasing or attenuating gain. The low mid and high mid bands abandoned the constant bandwidth operation of the E-series EQs, instead opting for the proportional Q design of the ISA. On 292, as you add or remove more gain, the shape of the EQ curve narrows, going from smooth and wide at low gain settings to increasingly tighter and focused at higher gain values. The maximum amount of gain the 292 offers is plus minus 20 dBs. However, it's not that straightforward, as gain can vary based on the frequency
The fuck
position
is going on, dude?
and the variable Q setting. Another feature borrowed from the ISA are the low mid-frequency divide by 3 and high mid-frequency multiply by 3 controls. Engaging either of these controls accesses a wider range of frequencies for both midbands, expanding the overall frequency response from 30 Hz up to
It's like every time I talk in here, it's like
the result is a smooth
something ain't
and
right.
gentle sounding EQ, naturally musical sounding, but far less precise and surgical than its brown and black EQ relatives. Whilst Focusrite's EQ received acclaim upon its launch, Pink EQ, quite simply, did not. Many engineers instantly disliked the new EQ. It was too different in sound and functionality to the 242 Black and 02 Brown. The tight, aggressive control that most had become accustomed to, and ability to dig deep and carve out specific frequencies, was gone. replaced with a new tool that behaved in a somewhat unpredictable manner. Early adopters of the G series were usually owners of an E series, and for those who disliked the pink EQ, an easy solution was possible. Simply drop your E series channels into your new G series frame. Of course, this meant that you lost any of the electrical and routing improvements made to the G series channels though. SSL were quick to identify this as a potentially disastrous start to their new flagship console's life, and began offering the 242 black EQ circuit.
Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties here. I need to figure this out. Let's see what's going on. I'm gonna kill the stream right now so I can figure this out. Sorry about that. It's kind of bugging me and messing with my head because I'm wearing headphones and the audio's like tweaked to one side, so